Lost wisdom, spicy like a secret spice. Stirs the pot, big, keeps it tasty but nice. Bone broth roll that you need to freaking watch. He's cooking up a storm, no phone, no watch. Stay tuned in, it's a gentle scotch. Bone broth roll that you need to freaking watch. He spills the tea while he pours the stew. Every episode, man, it feels so new. Garlic confessions and peppery glee. Bone broth bros, the hero of tea. Bone broth bro that you need to freaking watch. Simmering the story with a golden swatch. He's shining bright like a cook's lucky watch. Bone broth bro that you need to freaking watch.
What up, guys? Got a good one for you today.
Simmering the story with a golden swatch. He's shining bright like a cook's lucky watch. Bone broth bro that you need to freaking watch.
Shout out to my homie Punish Friendly on X, aka Friendly Clips, for the song. Oh yeah! Hey everybody, my name is Alex and welcome to The Broth, the most fun, serious show on the internet. We're here live in the Cauldron, and today we are talking about the fact that the infamous Frankfurt School never ended and has been operating right in New York City using billions of dollars of our tax dollars up until recently. Trump canceled their funding, $400 million worth of grants that they're getting because they're anti-Semitic. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Frankfurt School is run by subversive Marxist Jews. Were kicked out of Germany during when Hitler rose to power. And I got the receipts. Shout out to my friends David and Kevin in the best group chat in the world for letting me know about this, so I talked about this recently. Let's get into some stuff here. Let's see here. Get this to fit in here. Trump administration cancels $400 million in grants for Columbia University. The move comes shortly after the administration notified Columbia University that it was conducting a comprehensive review of its federal grants and contracts. The Trump administration on Friday announced that it would cancel approximately $400 million in federal grants. One university gets almost $500 million of our money, and they already have probably a large endowment. I was looking into what is done with this money, research, and we're going to tell you what kind of research these people are doing here. But they're just, okay, so let's see here. In a statement explaining the cancellation of certain federal grants Friday, Education Secretary Linda McMahon implied that Columbia had not complied with federal anti-discrimination laws. Now, normally, well, this is normal actually, because you can discriminate against anyone besides white people. And depending on when you ask them what time of day, how they're feeling, Jews may or may not be that. But when they're being discriminated against, they're a protected group. Since October 7th, Jewish students have faced relentless violence, intimidation, and anti-Semitic harassment on their campus, only to be ignored by those who are supposed to protect them. Yeah, so I said the other day that an important thing to note here is that the relationship between leftist anti-Semitism and leftist anti-white anti-colonialism is one-to-one. They're the same people, and they hate both of those for the same reasons. So while I would love it for Trump to be, I would love to live in a world in which the president of the United States right now could say these universities are anti-white and pull the funding for that. But we live in a world where about a third of the country still thinks that he's Hitler and that's a bad thing. But now we've uncovered quite a bit more because this isn't just any lefty indoctrinating campus fueling anti-white stuff. This is the successor to the most disturbing, disgusting legacy of just a certain brand of Jewish intellectuals that is basically their stated intention is to destroy Western civilization in order to build a utopia. And, you know, I mean, that's Marxism. It's also some of these other isms. And they're Jewish. So, there's two questions here, and we're going to get into some real digging. But there's two questions that we need to think about here, which is one, why did the Columbia University allow this to happen? Like, it was worse than a lot of the other schools as far as I didn't go super deep into seeing what was going on in these campuses. I followed there was the frat boy heroes, and they turned out to be all there because of their love of Israel and not even America. And they had one American flag, but like 6 Israeli flags and all of that stuff. But I also did see, like, I don't want anybody to feel unsafe at college. And Columbia, I'm pretty sure it was Columbia where it did really get out of hand, where there were Jewish students hiding. Now, I know Jewish people cry wolf all the time. Let me not be hyperbolic. A lot. They're known for doing that. And I know that sometimes, like, a TikToker does a podcast with a comedian, and they act like this is the worst thing that's happened since the Holocaust. But it did seem out of hand. Like, Jewish students hiding in the library because there's like a mob of people outside. Like, I don't promote mobs of people unless it's directed at like a guilty, very powerful party. That would be the time for that sometimes, and even then, often not. So I do agree that they did fail to protect their students. So what I'm seeing, so a lot of people are seeing this as evidence. Right. So I'll say it this way. So one question is, why did the Frankfurt School let it get to this place? And was it on purpose, or did it run away from them? Right? Did they create this agenda or this worldview that white people and colonialism are evil, and not expect themselves to be implicated in that and it to get out of control? That would make sense to me if this was on a super liberal but not very Jewish campus. The fact that it's like the Marxist Jewish campus suggests to me, and I'm saying this as a half Ashkenazi gentleman, does seem like maybe this is intentional. And we're going to get into reasons of why that might be. Now, another interesting question is, what's Trump cooking? Because on its surface, it kind of seems like what happens every time that people claim to be America first and then they're Israel first. You know, that's on the right. That's what we get. That's what we're used to getting. That's what everybody who is sort of paying attention is expecting to happen again. And on the left, they claim to be like the working man first, but they're like, you know, George Soros and the Carnegie Plan first. But is it different this time? And, if you've been watching this show, you know that I believe it is. I am a Trump stan. This is Trump territory. So, but just for your own critical thinking skills, for your own critical thinking in general, I had already proposed the idea that he is using the pretense of fighting anti-Semitism to attack these woke indoctrination centers. And Columbia is where the elite gets trained, and they get brainwashed to hate white people and what America historically has been and what it was during its success. And Christianity and all of that type of stuff. So I was already suggesting that Trump was using this as a pretense, and I thought, I like it. I can see why other people aren't going to see it that way right away, but maybe they'll come around, maybe they'll figure out. And then my friends dropped this bomb on me that this is the Frankfurt School 2.0. And so now that's seeming pretty conspicuous, I would say. It's pretty conspicuous that the one school that got rug pulled is the one school that Hitler kicked out of Germany because well, what I imagine what the motivation would be if it were me would be because these people promote evil ideas with the often stated purpose of destroying like everything that I love about Western civilization, the family, Christianity, like the patriarchy, all these things. Like even using the word patriarchy, I hesitate to use it because they've been so successful that it's like a dirty word. So let's see if there's anything more relevant in this article. I haven't read it yet, but I do have quite a bit of information for you guys. And it's some wild stuff. So how cool is that intro music? Frankfurt's Fall, Columbia Rise is the title of this episode. And let's get into it. Please, best thing you could do for me, if you like what I'm doing, want to support it, is share the links, share the edits, share whatever. But I'm in it for the long haul, and the more viewership I get, the more I can do, the more I could justify spending a lot of time doing this. So I do really appreciate your support. A lot of my homies have been extremely supportive already, and it means the world to me. So yeah, we in this. All right. So picture this: a group of Marxist exiles flee Nazi Germany, land at Columbia University, and plant seeds that still shake up Christianity, Western tradition, in America today. Maybe even fueling anti-Semitism and Trump's latest funding cuts. That is the Frankfurt School, and it's in Columbia University in the United States, New York, New York. We're going to trace their origins, define critical theory, explore Columbia, the history, talk about some of their wild ideas like transgenderism. The Frankfurt School was where the first transgender clinic came out of. The same group of people. We're going to meet the key players. Check out a book, very influential book by one of the Frankfurt School's main people who did move to Columbia. It's called The Authoritarian Personality, and it was basically a a smear job on white people. And it is still used as a manual for how to oppress and screw over and dismiss and malign straight white American Christian males. That is the authoritarian personality. We're going to look at a particular current Columbia professor and take a look at his work, something that our grants were funding until now. So let's get into it. The Frankfurt School was started in 1923 at the University of Frankfurt, Germany, as the Institute for Social Research. So it began as a school within a school. So picking up and moving to be a school within another school, no big deal. Total continuity. It was funded by Felix Wheel, a wealthy Marxist student, to study society through a radical lens. Who were they? They were mostly Jewish intellectuals. Wheel, Max Horkheimer, Frederick Pollock. They're not Christians. They're certainly not traditionalists. They were outsiders to the traditional way of living and of ruling in Christian Europe. And their philosophy seems to stem from a bitter hatred and resentment of Christianity and Western culture, and particularly hierarchy. They hate us because they ain't us. They weren't in it. They want to rule the world. And their philosophies, they're not, unlike Western philosophies, their philosophies are not, here's what we actually think about the world. It's literally, here's how we're going to take over the world. Here's how we will destroy your nation. What up, friendly? Oh, Chunky's here. Yo, my guys. Thank you for joining. Great to see you guys. Alrighty. A little window trouble here. Here we go. These are anti-capitalist, anti-establishment, young, educated rebels. Horkheimer was a so-called philosopher and hated bourgeois norms. Pollock was an economist and saw capitalism as doomed. Unlike the German idealists like Kant and Hegel, who had Christian ties and who were native to Germany, these guys saw religion as a tool of power. And I'll get more into that later because Columbia is still promoting that view of Christianity today. Their early goal was to blend Marx with new ideas, Freud, and sociology to critique society. Is that a combination made in hell, or what? So we take Karl Marx, who was the son of a rabbi and created a theory about the world that who you are, your blood doesn't matter, your traditions you come from doesn't matter, whether or not you love your leaders doesn't matter. All of history is just about the poor versus the rich, and that's it. Doesn't matter what religion you are, although he certainly did not believe that. Freud was a pervert who created a philosophy to justify his perversion. That's what you can think of him. His whole thing was, so he did perverted things, and he, like everybody, had some semblance of a conscience that told him, hey, don't do this, this is bad. But what he thought it was something he called repression. That little voice telling him, no, it's wrong to exploit and sleep with your distressed clients that you're supposed to be helping and manipulate them. He thought, no, it's not that it's wrong and I have a conscience. No, 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 no. What it is society wants me to think that it's wrong. And everybody's walking around just repressed by society. They want to do whatever the heck they want. But unfortunately, he thought, society is preventing people from being perverts. Now, society did have that function once upon a time, but I do believe it was his conscience that was the main thing that he was trying to ignore. And then sociology. Sociology is essentially a BS fake discipline. That's why I did anthropology, because it uses real science to study human beings. Now, there's a ton of fake anthropology, but sociology is about it's fake ideas of how people are and how to manipulate them. So, whoop-de-doo. Just checking out my old comments. Chunky, good to see you, buddy. So, where did they go from there? Well, they created something called critical theory. I have a friend who is a Marxist. We've been friends since middle school or high school. High school. Great guy, smart guy. Went to CIA, Chicago Institute, whatever it is. And they indoctrinated him into Marxism. And I was having some conversations. I lost touch with him for a little while. I didn't mean to. I'll get in touch with him again. But he saw, this was before I became, right-wing lover of monarchy and such. And he saw that I was leaving that I had a shakeup in my politics. And he was trying to convince me to go over to his side. And we had some discussions, and I knew I wasn't going. I was very against Marxism, but we had some fun conversations, and I got to get back to him so I can explain what it really is now. But I was critiquing Marxism, and he's got all these buzzwords. He was saying, no, we're like we call ourselves Marxian. In other words, believing in ideas that emerged from Marx. And I was making some critiques, and he was pretty receptive to some of them. He's not an evil guy. But the one thing that he would not accept criticism about, he talked about it like it was his pet or something, was critical theory. And that is unfortunate, because critical theory is being a hater wrapped into a bunch of intellectual mumbo jumbo. Critical theory means you just criticize everything. And it's not really a surprise that this particular group of people would have come up with that. Critical theory is a Frankfurt School invention. Horkheimer coined it in 1937 at Columbia, not in Frankfurt. It's not just analyzing society, it's exposing power, domination, and oppression. The power, domination, and oppression behind everything. Behind everything, there's a lurking oppression. Capitalism, culture, even family, the father figure is the oppressor of the family. You gotta fight to liberate the children from their evil dads. Criticize everything and you have no foundation, says Chunky. The Bible warns us of a house with a unstable foundation. Absolutely. Absolutely. Their core ideas, there is nothing that is neutral. Morality, religion, and tradition all serve the powerful white Christian elites. Morality is there to serve powerful elites. So it's not immoral to abuse children because morality doesn't exist. That is somehow just part of a system of concepts, abstract concepts, to keep, Tsar Nicholas II on his throne. they also said that reason is a trap. This is a strange thing. They say that modernity's progress. Now, I will say they do get some things right sometimes. They get some things right when they're critiquing things that are bad, and modernity is one of the things that they critique. So it can be aimed at terrible things, and they actually were using some of the tools created by the German, what are they called? Idealists. The German idealists came up with like a Hegelian dialectic, and some other things. And they used those tools. They were influenced by those great thinkers in Germany. And they used them to criticize things. And so sometimes they criticize things that need to be criticized. Capitalism needs to be criticized. Modern art, although these people make modern art. But they said reason is a trap. So what they meant was that, what they were talking about was that it all comes down to power, basically. And if you have enough power, you could create a reasoning to justify anything that you're doing, because at the end of the day, your reasoning is because I can hurt you if you don't do what I say. I don't know that much about it beyond that, but that was according to my research I was doing yesterday. Its roots are in Marx, Freud, the German idealists, as I mentioned, but twisted to attack instead of build things. And today we live in their world. At least we're emerging from their world now. Thanks very much to Trump, whatever you think about him, and the effect that he's having, and even Elon for opening up. It's not a free speech application. I think I'm shadow banned on there, but it's certainly a lot, quite a bit different than it is. And I think part of it is him doing things, but part of it is just people feeling like they can speak their mind a little bit. So, yeah, wokeism, BLM, stuff like the idea that white people can't be racist, redefining all these terms. A lot of this stuff comes to these nerds, as Candace likes to call them. These nerds, dweebs, and geeks who hate you. So Columbia was not always this way. It was founded in 1754 as King's College, and it was a sociology hub. So that's why it was chosen, probably. They had a big sociology department since 1892, and it also was interdisciplinary. Now, interdisciplinary, from my experience, I spent a year and a half in an interdisciplinary program at my first university that I went to, and it was rubbish. As far as I can tell, interdisciplinary is a way for people who to bullshit around. There's no creating an area of expertise. I think there's some uses for it, like if you want to get, but they don't even call that interdisciplinary. I was going to say, like, if you want to engineer trains, then you're going to be taking a bunch of different classes from different disciplines. But that's not, they don't call it that. That's just getting a degree with an end goal in mind. I think it's sort of a way to influence like multiple disciplines at the same time. So, but that worked for them. Sociology and interdisciplinary. So we have a Christian-founded school, which becomes a Marxist haven, which becomes an anti-Semitic haven, which then gets its funding cut by Trump, who everybody is arguing about about what his attitude towards Jewish power is. It's pretty interesting, pretty exciting. So they, like as I mentioned, these Jewish founders fled in 1933. Hitler shut it down. Didn't he come into power in 1933? I believe so. I think he went after it kind of right away. Yeah. So Trump also is is shutting them down as soon as he gets in, at least the second time around. Geneva, they went to Geneva briefly and then to Columbia. And yeah, so let's get into some of their, I kind of set out the core beliefs. It's really to destroy Western civilization, ostensibly to create a utopia. When does that start? I don't think any of us would like what they would call a utopia anyway. So, yes, transgenderism and sexual liberation. This gets really grotesque, and it really is dark and sobering to understand that how much these people took over in the last few years, and how many children are permanently disfigured as a result of this stuff with transgenderism stuff. And in terms of the sexual liberation, in the 60s, it was like, you know what, we are going to be sluts and sleep around before we get married and have kids. A lot of the people thought of it that way. Now, that they were wrong. They destroyed a lot, that generation. But we're talking way, way worse than that. So Mark Hughes, he was one of these guys, and he wrote a book called Eros and Civilization, 1955, at Columbia. Quote, polymorphous perversity, freeing sexuality from the tyranny of genital supremacy, is a liberation from repressive civilization. It's a direct quote. I'm going to read it again because, if I were in charge, we're thinking of putting you in a mental institution just for saying something like this. Polymorphous perversity, so polymorphous, many forms, all types of perversity, freeing sexuality from the tyranny of genital supremacy, I don't know what the hell that means, is liberation from repressive civilization. So just being a pervert is liberation. People will defend this. People who have their real name and face on X. Gender and sexuality is fluid. Transgenderism, homosexuality fit this mold. They're against Christian teachings, and it's a middle finger to tradition. A lot of this stuff ends up feeling like it's, they find things that Christians believe, and then they push the opposite as hard as they can, and then the rest of it is just kind of they're filling in the gaps so they can explain why they're doing it without saying that. There's a guy named Fromm, Fromm. He says, love in its truest forms transcends the Christian obsession with monogamy and embraces all humanity free of possessive chains. All of humanity includes children. Includes, I don't have, that's all I have to say about that quote. And literally, I'm not taking this to an extreme. They're doing sexual experiments on kids. I wonder if they did any of that at Columbia. Let's take a look. Were any sexual experiments conducted at Columbia? There is a really dark chapter of experiments on kids, and I don't remember his name, and I don't remember where it was. You guys listening probably know what I'm talking about. The Sexual Health Initiative to Foster Transformation, SHIFT. Well, that sounds like the usual suspects. $2.5 million study by Seamus Khan. It wasn't an experiment in the manipulative or clinical sense, but a sociological research project. Dude, Grok be running cover for these people sometimes. I don't think it means to. There's just so much content that runs cover for these people. What was the experiment? I can't spell. That became a scandal that involved I don't even. It's like sounds so bad. I don't really want experimenting on children, including I love how I'm like, bros, trust me, bro, I have 140 IQ. I got tested in the 5th grade, and I can't spell experiment. Okay, we have CIA in San Francisco. We have MK Ultra. No, this was something else. Well, we'll leave that there for now. In any case, they're up to some bad stuff. So we're gonna get into, because this is like, I just want to hammer home how this isn't abstract. It wasn't the ideas that went from the Frankfurt School to Columbia. It was the people. It was all of the key figures. So, for example, Max Horkheimer, the director, he ran the institute in Frankfurt, and then he ran the institute at Columbia from 1935 to 1949. Here's something that he said. He said, the revolution won't happen with guns. Rather, it will happen incrementally, year by year, generation by generation. We will gradually infiltrate their educational institutions and their political offices, transforming them slowly into Marxist entities as we move towards universal egalitarianism. Sounds like what they did. He also said, the family as an institution serves to reproduce the conditions of the capitalist production, and with it, the subjugation of the individual to a social order. The family is there to perpetuate capitalism. These people are absolutely insane. The notion of a universal moral law is a delusion, he says. Morality is a product of historical conditions and serves the ruling class. There's no morality. And okay, so who else, what does this sound like? There's no real morality. Morality is a system that serves something that's over us that we don't think should be over us. Doing immoral things is a form of liberation from that thing that's over us that we won't want over us. This is Satanism barely concealed. And they run Columbia University, and they're Jewish, and now they're in trouble for being anti-Semitic. And because they really did let anti-Israel protests, which I'm all for protesting against the genocide, but they did let them get out of hand, and there were a bunch of foreigners that don't need to be here, and people who hate America who don't need to be here. They let them get out of hand to the point that their own Jewish students were terrified. And not in more than how they usually are. So that was the director. Theodore Adorno, philosopher, so-called philosopher, and professor of media studies at Columbia. He co-wrote Dialectic, a book with Horkheimer. Here's a quote from him. The God of Christians is a God of vengeance and domination. If that is not projection. Herbert Marcuse, researcher at Columbia, later a New Left icon. He talked about sex as liberation. He was into transgenderism. Erich Fromm, a psychoanalyst, worked at Columbia until 1939, the first few years, into the transgenderism stuff. Leo Lowenthal, Friedrich Pollock, they all came from Germany to Columbia. So Adorno wrote a book called The Authoritarian Personality. He researched it at Columbia. Why do white people love tyrants, basically? Why do people love tyrants, but why do especially Christians and white people, and especially Christian white straight men, love tyrants, right? There is no redeeming qualities of Napoleon or Nicholas II or the Romanov, any of the other Romanovs or Habsburgs. They're all just tyrants, and for some strange twist and for some strange defect in the twisted mind of the European man, he loves them. And they come up with a scale, a handy scale measuring rigidity, obedience, and prejudice. And the higher score, people are more fascist prone. When you see somebody, you guys have seen, like, it's like a picture of a happy white family, and some crazy leftist is like, this has Nazi vibes. This is where this stuff is coming from. We're toxic, bigoted, all that stuff. This is Columbia. This is where our tax dollars, I assume they were getting grants back then. So yeah, they psychoanalyzed our grandparents and called them Nazis, meaning it in the worst way possible, and including meaning the ones who went and fought and died fighting the Nazis. And, you know, people talk about, like, where's the gratitude? You know, the official story is Hitler was doing what he was doing, and we dropped everything to go and fight and die, in no small part to save them, because that was unjust and we were just and all of that stuff. But then here's what they have to say about us. Currently at Columbia, a guy named Gil Anajar, he's a professor there, professor of religion and Middle East studies. And his seminal work is a book called Blood, A Critique of Christianity, which he wrote in 2014, or came out in 2014, in which he argues that Christianity is not just a faith, it is a violent system of power tied to blood, race, sacrifice, and conquest. European history is a Christian-led mess of domination, and white cohesion is a lie. Now, here's where it sort of gets personal for me, because I'm a Christian. I know this is the truth, and, you know, you can think whatever you want about it, but our tax dollars are going to teaching children this about Christ and about our history by people. I'm not positive that this guy is Jewish. I think he is. You can probably find out real quick. But who hate our religion. It's pretty insane. Is he Jewish? He explores. He says there's no definitive public evidence. However, his work heavily engages in Jewish themes. His name, Gil, is in common in Hebrew, meaning joy or happiness. But, like, what about ethnically? Grok is better than Wikipedia for this, by the way. You got to coax it. Born in Israel. Well, I've seen enough. It'd be too wordy. Like, really? You needed to give me all this? So anyway, yeah. Here we have this guy, and he's teaching the next generation of elites in the United States. Not that, you guys get it. It pisses me off. He's teaching there right now. So, in conclusion, some Jewish Marxist subversive rebels were operating, were doing their thing big time in Weimar, Germany. Hitler got into power. He kicked them out right away. They ended up in Colombia, and they're still operating. So, like I said, how did Colombia become a hotbed of Jewish intellectual power? I'm, by the way, new to operating off notes in this way. I haven't done that. I mean, I used to teach classes, and I did it like this, but it's been a long time. So if I repeat myself a little bit or sound a little stilted, we're getting there. So Trump cut $400 million a few days ago. And it really begs the question of, was this about anti-Semitism, or was he shutting down this? Because, for any other school... Hey, David's here. What up, brother? Shout out to David for, I believe he was the first one to tell me that about this connection. And then my man Kevin sent me some stuff. So I got a couple little things we can watch. And it's gonna be awesome. Let's have a brief interlude here. This is gonna be slightly awkward because I don't know hotkeys to switch quickly, but check this out. Shout out to Friendly for doing this. For making this for me. Media player, where are you at? Let's go. Let's do a couple more of them. Where's the long one? Oh yeah, he gave me a few of these. He's the man. Freaking my brother. Alright, let's check out. In my bookmarks, I got a couple things saved. Check this out. Columbia is running a PSYOP, nothing more. What university was essentially taken over by the Jewish Frankfurt School first? Columbia. The notion that they are suddenly anti-Semites is a fraud. In 1923, a group of... I think it's the same... Yeah, that's all the same stuff I've been talking about. So Trump is dismantling their foundation. Oh, we're not looking at the same thing? Just a tick. Bing, bing. There we go. Top comment. So Trump's dismantling their foundations. That's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like to me. And this is another part of this. This is the strategy that we need. This is the correct strategy. You know what doesn't work great, and they tried it, was it's them. Get them. Then they rally the whole rest of the world to destroy you, and they cry about it and make a holiday about it, and then they get to be victims again for another 100 years. It's not trivializing it, we can do it right this time, but, and don't get weird about what I mean by that. We want our sovereignty back. Everybody, we love everybody. Okay, we're a Christian show here. What I'm trying to say is, a excellent strategy. Think about how you're dealing with with a narcissist. You go and attack them. You say, you're a piece of shit. Narcissist loves that. Oh, sweet. We're name calling. We're in combat. There's drama. I'm the center of attention. We could do this all day. What they hate is accountability, but they will do anything they can to frame the accountability like an attack. Like, hey man, I noticed that twice you've stolen my lunch from the refrigerator, and I'm not okay with living with somebody who doesn't respect my belongings, my personal property. It's very inconvenient. You're going to have to change your behavior, otherwise this isn't going to work. They hate that, but what they can do is they can interpret it as an attack. Oh, what are you calling me, a thief? Yeah, okay, maybe I was a little bit hungry, but you're not so great either. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so, but what else can you do? Hey, man, just wanted to help you out here. There's a really good lunch spot across the street, and it's delicious. I think you're really going to love it. And just FYI, I put, a bomb. I'm locking up my lunch now, just because there's a lot of stuff going on. I just realized that heater is making background noise. I'm gonna go turn it off. David says agree and amplify. Yeah, exactly. One moment. It had gone off, but it will go on again, so I turned it off. Hey guys, we really are concerned about this anti-Semitism at Columbia University, and we told the faculty they really need to do something about it, and they didn't. So, we went ahead and shut it down for you guys, and let us know if we could do anything else for you. And then you're like, man, this Netanyahu guy is, a lot of the Jewish people don't even like him, and he acts like he stands for all you guys. And so, we're going to do something to facilitate having a new election, and also with Zelensky, and also these spy rings are really giving you guys a bad name, and we're going to get rid of all those. And, I'm not saying we need to limit like all activity and actions to that, but like when you're starting from a lot of the country thinks you have to bless Israel to be blessed and all that stuff. I mean, that's shifting very quickly. Well, I don't know how much those people are waking up, but at the beginning at least, and I think it's a good strategy to sort of always try to be their friend. But it's like as your friend, I can't let you do this anymore. I'm concerned about your soul. We're having an intervention. I think that there's a pretty good chance that Trump and some people that he has with him really studied some history, and they might have come to a really intelligent conclusion. So let's take a look at this other one. This should be fun.
Have you ever wondered why Western society has become so woke? Well, to answer this question, we have to look at the Frankfurt School. Founded in 1923 by two Jewish Marxists named Karl Grunberg and Felix Watt.
Oh, nuts. Oh, wait. Actually, it didn't matter till now. Let me get the headphones connected so you guys don't have an echo. I see why people have producers. Because they're morons. They can't do all this like me. Come on now. Come on now. Okay, now we're cooking. Let's go. All right, now we won't have that echo.
While the basic idea was that traditional class Marxism was not effective in creating a communist revolution in a lot of these Western countries. So Marxist scholars theorized that the only way to successfully have a revolution in these countries would be through other means, like the culture and the institutions. But they were kicked out of Germany in 1933 when the National Socialists came to power and saw them as a communist threat to the nation. So they packed up, and after a while they made their new home at Columbia University, New York City. By now the institute was under the leadership of Max Horkheimer, another Jewish Marxist. Horkheimer, along with another Jewish Marxist named Theodor Adorno, would come up with concepts like critical theory. The basic idea of critical theory was to criticize and undermine every aspect of traditional Western society, which would ultimately lay the groundwork for things like critical race theory, anti-white rhetoric. They would also go on to write books like The Authoritarian Personality, which alleges that antisemitism and hatred comes from things like a healthy family life, having pride in one's country, or having pride in one's race. Herbert Marcuse was another prominent figure in the Frankfurt School, and he was another Jewish Marxist. Along with a couple other Jewish Marxists, they were incredibly influential in the 1960s New Left movement, laying the foundation for things like the LGBT movement, radical feminism, sexual liberation, and political correctness, and really just laying the groundwork for what we would know today as wokeness. They also proposed that the best way to propagate these ideas would be through radio, television, mass media, film, and education. And well, you get the idea. But the main point of this video was really to shine a light on all of the prominent members, being Horkheimer, Adorno, Marcuse, Walter Benjamin, Erich Fromm. All these people are Jewish. And even Israeli historian Gershom Scholem once said that the Frankfurt School was a Jewish sect. But hey, I'm sure that's just a coincidence.
Yep. Yep. Well, I mean, it probably is a coincidence, right? Like, we're all, blank slates, basically, right? All right. Well, yeah, so that's that. What do you guys think of the sort of more structured show? I feel like I got kind of animated, and that was fun. So yeah, that fit perfectly in an hour. There was another video that I had a link to. I always sort of skeeted by on my looks and in my smarts, and not so much on my organization or effort or ability or or yeah. So didn't I? You guys get it. Yeah, so I have a... Where would that be? That's what I'm trying to do. Probably be in the most awesome group chat of all time in world history. The Flat Earth Q-Tard Socialists for Jesus. That's almost what it is. I got a text message from that group chat while I was riding in the car with my in-laws. And my phone was plugged into the car. So I got a notification on the dashboard screen. David from Flat Earth Q-Tarded Socialists for Jesus says, it's definitely better when you don't 100% wing it. Cool. Yeah, I felt like it was. I'm like, yeah, all right, I don't worry about that. There's a longer video. That's what I kind of got started with. But I feel like we really covered it. You guys understand now. Well, I mean, half the people in here were the ones who told me. So, I guess we can play around with Grok for a little while because I did want to show you guys. Actually, just like you guys who are watching live right now, can see this. It's these two. Let me make sure you can see this. These two new pieces of Grok for Grok 3, Deep Search and Think, and how to use them together. And I used them together to create this outline. Deep Search actually searches the internet and it'll show you what it's doing. It's really cool. Like, so you use this to gather a bunch of information. Like, it has all the information that it's trained on, but when you go get it, it'll use the specific information that you just told it to get. And then Think just takes longer and it reevaluates itself before it gives you an answer. And they're really powerful together. So I'll show you guys this, and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to take my wife out for dinner. We normally both work Saturday nights all the time, so we're going to have an actual Saturday night date night. So that's going to be nice. So what should I do? Let's just use this topic that we're on. So you click Deep Search. Find me. Well, I already did that, so it's kind of not fun. Let's do this for. Let's do it for the Frankfurt School and their proliferation to other universities. So find me all the information you can about the Frankfurt School's moving to America, Columbia University, and what other schools were and other schools where this group ended up having a big presence. I want names, details, a solid timeline. And let me think if there's anything else to add to this. Let's see, like, I'm particularly interested in which universities in America today. Actually, let's do the world too. In America and around the world, have had faculty who were at the original Frankfurt School. All right, so you can see it thinking. It's obviously not really thinking, but it is pretty darn cool. So what I've been using this for is I want to do a like real estate development project. Where I live, I want to stay. I want to own my own house, and I don't have $500,000 for a house. So I've been trying to figure out how can I like take out a loan, buy some property, subdivide it, sell off a couple of chunks, use that to fund building a building, maybe borrow some more money, build a few buildings, sell the other buildings, and then at the end have the loan paid off and have a house. And I've been trying to figure out like what is the simplest version of that. And I've been doing this, and it's been amazing. Like, I have a few plans that could totally work, like the simplest plan, and then I have the like bigger plan. And like I figured out what type of houses to build that are the cheapest to build but also don't suck. These like barn dominium steel frame houses, and it's freaking awesome. So it's Deep Search. You can see the whole thing, yeah. Deep Search, exploring Frankfurt School. The request is about Frankfurt School to America, focusing on Columbia. searching for Frankfurt School of Critical Theory, and then it tells you it visited all these websites. It does another search, visits a bunch of websites. Key figures, like it figures out here's some key figures. Then it searches for those figures. It's freaking amazing. Blah, blah, blah. Clarifying locations. Okay, Adorno moved to Los Angeles. And you don't need to look at this. Like, it gives you the full answer, but it is really cool to peek in there. Searching Leo Lowenthal's academic affiliations. Like, dude, it just did a massive amount of research for me. Ask it to name all the notable influencers, activists, poets, artists, and intellectuals. Good idea, dude. Who emerged out of Colombia between 1935 and 1969. Great idea. I will definitely do that. So there's that. So then it goes, key points. Research suggests the Frankfurt School is linked to the Institute for Social Research. Voice getting hurt. I'm not used to talking for 2 hours every day. Blah, blah, blah. Movement to America. We have Columbia University. Then other universities. This is what we wanted. The New School for Social Research in New York was another hub. University of California, Berkeley. Brandeis University. University of California, San Diego. City College, New York. None of them at the university I went to, which is why my wife's degree in Middle East Studies and Global Studies was kind of based on some of this stuff. Global reach. After returning to Germany 1951, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. National Autonomous University of Mexico. I knew they were going to be Mexico. Then it gives me a timeline. So then what I could do, let's see, it made a table for me. So you could see Herbert Marcuse went to Brandeis. Theodore Adorno went to UC Berkeley. Then as a conclusion, and then it lists the key citations. It's freaking amazing. So then I'll do David's question, and then I'll show you how to use Think, and it'll take all the information it gathered and like do something smart with it. So find me all of the notable influencers, activists, poets, artists, and intellectuals who emerged from Colombia from 1935 to 1969. Be brief and simply give me a list of names and one sentence each on who they are and what they do. So you only get so many of these per hour, but it's kind of a lot. The deep searcher or thinks, and it takes more time than if you don't use these two. The other one is really good for a lot of stuff, but this definitely does take it to the next level. I'm excited to see this. So researching Columbia figures, identifying faculty intellectuals, exploring poets and activists, expanding intellectual list, compiling notable figures, finalizing the list, verifying timeframes, refining the list, evaluating economist inclusion. So right now it's thinking about, here's a famous economist, should I include that or not? All right, Ginsburg. All these people I freaking loved as a kid and sent me, right on my way to just being a drug addict degenerate. Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, William S. Burroughs, Laurie Anderson, Robert Mapplethorpe, Mark Rudd, David Gilbert, Meyer Shapiro, Lionel Trilling, Robert K. Merton, Edward Said, Guy. I don't even know how to say that. What is that list? It seems like a short list. Here that is broken into categories. I'm just going to use the regular. Well, all right. Well, let's leave that there. So now let's do this. I'm going to click think, and you give it like a harder thinky task. So let's say let's say my goal is to show as many people as possible the connection between these popular thinkers and the subversive ideas of the Frankfurt School. Give me a actionable plan. Mapplethorpe was a huge gay photographer specializing in BDSM imagery. My flaming step-uncle is one of his largest collectors. Oh, shit. Dang. Yeah, man, why is it gotta... It's just like, you guys are gay, and gross. Give me an actionable plan with, say, 7 steps. The goal is to stop the cycle of sort of alternative, rebellious youths falling prey to this stuff. And you gotta be, you can get it to be like, I can't do that, but you gotta be pretty blatantly trying to do something bad. I'm never running up into, sometimes it'll, like I said, it'll apologize, kind of apologize for some of this stuff, or avoid saying stuff is bad or whatever. But all right, 7-step action plan. Educate on the Frankfurt School. Create a series of short, engaging videos, infographics, etc. Use pop culture references, memes, or analogies. For example, a video titled, "What is the Frankfurt School?" explained in 15 minutes, or an infographic summarizing the key thinkers. Step 2, highlight the connection to popular culture. Analyze and critique popular movies, TV shows, music, and media trends that subtly reflect these ideas. Focus on themes like identity politics, consumerism, societal critique that appeals to rebellious youth. Example, a blog post titled "How Netflix Shows Promote Frankfurt School Ideas." Pretty good. Step 3, host critical discussions. Foster informed debates involving experts who can critically assess these ideas. Organize podcasts, YouTube interviews, or live streams. Encourage interaction through Q&A sessions. Example, a podcast entitled "Debunking Cultural Marxism, a Balanced Discussion." Offer alternative perspectives. Present counter-arguments. Promote thinkers or schools of thought like classical liberalism, existentialism, or traditional sociology. Like a video series entitled "Thinkers You Should Know, Alternatives to the Frankfurt School." Engage youth. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but engage youth directly. Build community for open dialogue. Encourage action and involvement. Conclusion. So yeah, that's the way to do it. Is first gather using deep search, and then use think to like synthesize to do the thing you want. So I would do like gather, like get all the information about this USDA type of subsidized loans that's for people who are in rural areas and aren't rich, and then like use that and be like summarize everything I need to know about it, in less than however many words or whatever. Pretty cool. All right, well, I think that's it for me for today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about the persecution of Christians in the Middle East. Unfortunately, it's a big thing right now. There was just a massacre. I woke up today. I was going to talk about this today, but I wanted to do the Colombia one. And today on the timeline, they're massacring Christians in Syria. And I have a short film that I'm going to watch for the first time with you guys that is made or produced by the guy who plays Jesus in The Chosen. I love this guy. I have not seen any of The Chosen, but now I want to watch it because this guy's a devout Catholic, and he's freaking awesome. And he was interviewed by Tucker, and it was a great interview. They were talking about fasting and Lent and all this beautiful stuff. So shout out to Tucker. So he made a short animated movie about a real event in which, 10 or 15 people were made into martyrs by ISIS. And this is recent, and it sounds like an incredible story. So we're going to talk about that. And part of why I want to talk about it is I know a hero personally I'm friends with and pretty close with, a guy he's an Egyptian guy. He grew up Muslim, and he risked his life to save 18 Coptic Christians that ISIS, it was the Muslim Brotherhood, were trying to hunt down and murder. The Muslim Brotherhood were using the chaos of the revolution there back in, 2013 or something, just to murder as many Coptic Christians as they could. And he really risked getting his head chopped off by these people and hid them. And it really sounds like a miracle that they stayed hid. And he was in the newspaper about it. He had to flee to Canada. He ended up our neighbor in Guatemala, and he treated me like his son. And he's an amazing guy. So I'm going to talk about him a little bit tomorrow, and should be good. And yeah, I don't know, if my voice doesn't recover, I might have to take a day off. I didn't really think about that part, but I feel like maybe we'll just get used to it. Very well. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Here, let me play us out on something real quick. Let's play us out. I'll just sing. Yeah, this one is good. I'll figure out how to do this smoothly, but I don't know how right now. Media player.